Yes, nice and decent people. Hoped, and I would like to introduce you for a minute in Hebrew to the people. Scientist, בן אדם שנמצא כאן, בן אדם שבעצם אחראי במידה רבה על התפתחות של המוזיקה במאה ה-20 אל תוך המאה ה-21. אנחנו מדברים על דאב מיוזיק. דאב מיוזיק התחילה, היו מפיקים של דאב שפעלו לפני כניסתו של סיינטיסט לזירה, אבל ברגע שסיינטיסט נכנס, הוא לקח ומתח את גבולות הז'אנר, יצר מצב שיש לו following וקהל מעריצים פתאום, ששומע את המוזיקה הזאת והולך ונפתח לו עולם חדש. כל הדבר הזה קרה גם דרך אנגליה, ודרך זה לתוך העולם, ובעצם אנחנו מדברים על דאב, מוזיקה שלוקחת את הדבר הזה, את המיקסר ואת הקונסולה, והופכת להיות כלי של יצירה ביד בן אדם כמו סיינטיסט והדורות שבאו אחריו. ועכשיו אנחנו ניכנס לשיחה עם הבן אדם, להבין דיפלי במה מדובר, איך הכל התחיל בעצם. So we're going to take it from the start. השיחה תנוהל באנגלית. יהיה מקום לשאלות בסוף. אם אתם ממש מתפרצים ולא יכולים לעצור את עצמכם, תשלטו בעצמכם. תחבו טלפונים גם כן. או מצב טיסה. אוקיי? בלי וואטסאפים, אני כאן, וואלה דווקא לא משהו, אל תגיד. זה להמם. Greetings, Hopeton.
Greetings, thank you.
I would like to start and ask the first question that many of us probably want to know. It's kind of a very basic question, but what is dub music?
Dub music is a recomposition of different instruments or tracks, and I could probably play it and give them an example.
We will get to the examples part. After.
Yeah, but it's recompose. You have to recompose those tracks, and you have to put elements inside it to keep the listener interested in the music.
How did it came about?
Like most things, most of it came about by mistakes. First time in the early days, as you might remember, usually a version where you'd have an A side of the singing, and then the B side would be just the instrumental, uncut, unedited, just the way the musician played. And then from my understanding, that certain elements came about by mistakes. Then from that, you have a great colleague of mine, Osborne Ruddock. He had his own touch to it, and it evolved into what a lot of people now know as remix.
Osborne Ruddock, a.k.a.
King Tubbies. Yeah. I really wish if he was here today, because I remember when I was talking about like moving faders, and you see the faders moving, he was saying, look here, kid, stop smoking that thing. It's making you crazy. What you talking about, faders moving? I said, yes, Tubby, just like how we rigged the dial cord. You remember those old-time radios, and when you turn the station, you see the string. It's the same exact principle. Yes, Tubby's a cool, but there was time it was more like a nightmare, because we didn't even have computers to remember the different positions of the fader. But I wish if he was here now to see all the things that I spoke to him about now becomes a reality.
Well, you mentioned something very special about it, because like dub generated a sound and it changed actually the frequencies of music. Lower frequencies became more and more dominant in the music. And in what terms, like, did it change the sound and like maybe even the evolution of the physical sound systems itself?
Oh, well, if you remember double barrel with Ansel Collin, right? I remember way before I even dreamed to become an engineer, that was about the first record I bought at Randy's. I bought Double Barrel, but that song at that time had the biggest, fattest bass. And then from that, the different elements start was to develop.
And like, you're leading me to another question there. What is that like fascination specifically with Jamaica and fat bass lines?
Uh,
Why is that?
Without any disrespect or sound chauvinism, but you know, we oh, men, we kind of look at fat bass like healthy women. doesn't
Could you
doesn't look
expand
like,
on that, please?
doesn't look like a boy, a woman that look like a boy. Yeah, so fat bass mean nice, rounded, curvy woman.
And that's actually leading me to the second question I was about to ask. What is, as a man that sound was and is a part of your life, what is sound that creates that movement? Like, what is sound in general for you?
Um, Sound is like magic. It's like different colors that you can't really see, but you can hear it. It have different flavors. It have high pitch, it have low pitch, it have medium pitch. And you know, this sound is this magical thing that have this big influence even on the unborn, right? Where they can feel the inspiration. I remember back in biblical times, right? Around the walls of Jericho, they actually used sound, if that's true, to bring down the walls. At least that was what was taught in Bible school, right? In Bible studies. So sound is a magical thing. I just happen that God gave me the gift that I know how to manipulate sound to set up different things in your head and use the element of surprise through sound that I can manipulate it away and put things into dub music that every time you hear it, it will always sound a little bit different.
Well, Jamaican music in general, like from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and all, like even today, carries what you call like a magnetic force. People from all four corners of the world are fascinated with this music created in a little island of a population small, like less than 3 million people.
20 million, where you get that from? I thought when
No,
I was growing up, it was just 3
three-
million people.
3 million, huh?
Yes, 20 million, damn. The place was
It's
what?
20 million Tafarin. But
probably scattered
Only three-
around the
yeah,
world,
yeah.
but when I was growing up, I remember that's 3 million. You sure, man? Which one of us wrong?
it was 200,000 back in the day.
3 million, that's what I remember it as.
So maybe it still is.
Probably a little bit more, a little bit less because people die, but 20 million, damn, that sounds like a lot.
All right. So like, what is this magnetic force? That actually, it's a question that I've been asking myself all these years. I've been asking artists that I met, and it's like, if we can go like maybe deeper in the culture, what's the secret?
Bass, the different frequent response that you're not hearing in other music, like the highs, the mid, the lows. You're just not hearing it in the other genres, but reggae is what start featuring that type of a sound. Like for example, you remember when Flying Cymbal with Santa Davis just came out, they were always playing it, but the hi-hat was never the forefront instrument. So when we start to put those instruments in up front with the correct frequency response to make it cut through, that's what brought that magic to it. And it also helped speaker manufacturers and amplifier builders to develop the fault data so they can now start building these type of equipment they have, because with other genres, it would not develop the fault data so the engineers know what's going on with their speakers and their amplifiers to know how to design it around it. Because with the other genres, rock and roll, blues, you can get by with a little crappy sound system. It wouldn't make any difference.
Well, we're speaking about sound, but I'm trying to think about the content. Like, what is it like? Maybe because there's a certain beat you find in Jamaica and you don't find other places, and the frequency is like it's amplified. The bass is amplified, and to contradict it, you have the tweeter box and the high note that you hear from miles and miles around.
Yeah, I have a way of communicating with little green men from outer space. Yeah, through them high frequencies.
Could you please expand on that?
What, Martian language?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody...
Since we're already here, and they're about to be here very soon, so I think we should we should know a few things about it.
Martian language, little green men. I think they would be angry with me if I start telling anybody their codes.
Maybe they're already here?
Yeah, and here's what. Your eyes can only see certain things, right? And there's different elements in the earth. Probably your ancestors right here sitting down beside you, but you can't see them. And you have, just like how you have a human world, you have a spirit world. No, it's a serious thing. You have a spirit world out there and things that the naked eye can't see. So, there's a lot of things happening in earth that we're still guessing and we don't know about.
And does music, in a sense, communicate on that basis? And I'm serious about it. Like,
no, for sure.
And does it maybe break boundaries in our consciousness?
Yes, subconscious, yeah. If you know how to use music to get through the subconscious part of a person, then you're onto something. Yeah, ways of using. Because here's what, I did a study. I get some books, I get some music, and I get some videos. And a bunch of people would be in a room like this, and I am behind a one-way glass looking at them. And then different books and different movies are different, whatever different people might look, I see where to have a link to their behavior. Like everybody into white-collar crimes, bank robberies, accounting robbery, they're listening to Frank Sinatra. Right? Everybody who is into rude boy business, then they're listening to a certain set of people. Some people, they're listening to Bob Marley. So what I get to come to the conclusion, the music and the media has something to do with how you see people behave.
Do you think, like, in a sense, Jamaica... Okay, let me rephrase it. Like, Jamaican dub music and dub music that is done elsewhere outside of Jamaica, would it be different in terms of the approach and touch?
Well, I'm blessed. I didn't choose it. It chose me. That if I does not talk about a lot of things, a lot of people won't know. But what it does, that curiosity, it allows other people to come up with their own way of doing it, which produce a different result.
How do you like the result and the evolution?
I like, for example, my professor. I like what he does. I hear him trying that filter bass. Okay, all right, it sounds good, but that's not quite how we did it. I hear they're trying the ping pong delay. I don't know if any of you noticed it or was here last night. The delay run from left to right. Okay. It influenced equipment called pan scan, but that's not how we all did it. We just use the tape machine to create the ping pong delay where it's running from side to side. So it helped people to come up with different equipment, different ways of doing it. Some of it come close, but not really the same thing.
Let's go down memory lane right now.
Okay.
How did it all start from early days of childhood?
For me, first I was repairing TVs in my neighborhood. I was a television technician. And then I started learning how to build amplifiers like the one you showed me there, the tube amplifiers.
Tube amps?
Yeah. Yeah, so a friend of mine by the name of Michael Clark introduced me to roots of the King Tubbies. So I usually test my amplifiers with different types of American music, and the amplifier would behave normal. But when I start playing King Tubbies, the plates of the amplifier, the KT88, they would heat up and start to run red, and the speakers would behave abnormal. So I thought at that time that there was something wrong with the record. And what that record was doing was giving me the fault data, generate the fault data. Like when you see them racing a car on the track, 200 miles an hour, after they finish racing the car, they will strip down the car and say, okay, this part wear at 500 miles, so we know the ordinary person is not going to drive the car 200 miles around the track. They're going to be driving at 50, so this is what we need to improve on. So the record was developing up the false data so I could know what's going on with amplifier. At first I thought was, something wrong with this damn record. But in the meantime, yeah, this thing really sound cool. This thing really sound cool. So our next friend of mine was doing, the grill work, as you see on top is there. Mm-hmm. He was telling me that he was going to Tubby's to do some grill work, and he think I should come around there and meet Tubby's.
Grill work?
Yeah, the grill that you see on the studio.
Yeah.
The iron bars.
Iron bars that just like sogim.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so he introduced, at that time I went there and I was introduced to Tubby's. And that is, it become a regular place where I could buy amplifier parts and get Transformers wine. And Tubby's used to see me coming there every day, but I was coming with him with these crazy, way out ideas 20 years ahead of time. Look here, child, look here. This mixing thing, I know a lot of big men who try it, and they fail. And you're telling me you can't come here and mix. So after been going there on a number of occasions, he said, look here, I have to run downtown. Stay here and wait until I come back. And then after that, then Tommy slowly stopped coming to the studio. And then I find I'm this person opening up the studio, and everybody waiting for Tubby's. And they had a certain employee there that was not really reliable. And there was a producer come there wanted that employee to work, and that employee was not reliable. And Tubby says, well, the only way you're going to get that song mixed is if they make I did it. But, I was a kid. No, Tubby's, no, you mixed well. I'm not mixing this song, so you better take the chance. And then they reluctantly made me mix the track. And after that, I stopped television. I didn't fix the next television set after that. Every day, it was mixing. The song, Collyweed.
Collyweed, Barrington Levy.
Yeah, it went to #1.
On My Way to Marvelly.
Yeah.
All right. And how the tune came about? Like, man gives you a rhythm. What's the operation, like hands-on operation of mixing a track in King Tubby's in the year, what was it, 1978 or 79?
78, yeah, in the 80s, yes. Late
Early 80s?
Yeah, early 80s, 81, yeah.
81.
Yeah.
So what was the operation? It's like somebody comes with tapes.
They come with 4-track tape.
And where's the vocals now?
Yeah, well, they Tubby's at the time was only set up to record vocals, and then
So Lil Barrington Levy came to the
she
studio
came to the
voice it?
studio, put on this track. But by that time, I've been watching Tubby's and like Pat Kelly, and because of my electronic
Great.
experience, I've been able to figure out things on my own. So, but after watching them for a while, and then I went to Tubby's at that time, talking to him about building a mixing console. But at the time, it was more like a dream. I get to realize it was not just a one-man operation, like when you're building an amplifier, you have to be more precise with certain things. So by the time getting the exposure to the studio, going to the studio, open it up for Pat Kelly and Bunny Lee, then I start watching, and because of my electronic training, I've been able to figure out things for myself. So Tubby's made me a bet. You always say you can mix. You always say you can mix. And I said, oh yeah, look, son, I can go get my break now. I bet if I send you inside, you don't know what to do. And, all right. And then I start, okay, you have to switch on the console. And I watch them put on the tape many times. And everybody nervous back in them time when you're trying to put on the tape because, it's not in a protective thing. If you make a mistake, you could spill the tape on the ground and it could be just entangled like cobweb. So that was one of the most critical moments after I got through that and put on the tape. And then put Barrington Levy in the studio and voice him and then mix the song.
What, like the booth was already ready
Yeah.
with the egg cartons on the wall, and
Yeah.
the mic was already plugged in.
Yeah, it was permanently plugged in.
And then after the vocals are being laid, so like you have the track and then you mix it live. How does the operation go?
Pretty much the tracks people would record them at Channel 1. And then a lot of people would come to Tubby's to do the vocals. And after the vocals, then we do the mixing. And back in those times, people book in 2 hours studio time and they want to voice a song or voice a whole album and mix it in 2 hours.
In 2 hours?
2 hours, yes.
An whole album?
Sometime, yeah.
Like you remember such recording of
like that same Robin Hood album with Barrington Levy is about a 2 to 3 hour job.
2 to 3 hour job and
yeah.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
A classic.
Yeah. Now when I listen back to it, I hear a bunch of my own mistakes that sound normal to other people. But I could hear where I was just learning.
And that's the time to quote the sentence, every spoil is a style.
Every spoil, yeah. But at first, a lot of people said...
Who said that?
The producers, what type of a weird sound that don't sound right? What that bass too heavy, and they would complain. But a lot of them was complaining because they were also looking for free studio time. But because I was, only 17 at the time, that was perfect opportunity. And even now today I mix songs. I always hear something that could be better. So that, again, just giving the producers more excuse to come back and say something wasn't right with it. And then the same thing that they say they don't like, it go out there and hit.
It becomes a style.
Yeah, it becomes a style. Then by the time you know it, oh God, I find myself just wake up, go home to my house, take a shower, put on clothes, to be right back at the studio, leaving 4 o'clock in the morning. And it never ends.
Okay, we're at King Tubby's. It's the early 80s. In terms of like tunes recorded per day of work, because you say in 2 hours, pretty much you get a Barrington Levy album. In a day's work, so what do you get? Because some people come for a single, like,
Okay, let's do a quick match.
yeah, because I want, like,
Okay,
I'm asking
let's do
this
a quick
question
match.
for the crowd to
Um,
understand, like, the,
we're just going at bare minimum. I'm going to just be conservative, right?
yeah.
So
A rough estimation.
if you do 5 songs a day, you all help me with some maths here. If you do 5 songs a day times 7 days a week, that's what, 7 5s or 35?
Five,
Five
yeah,
times
that's
7.
35, yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
35 songs.
35 times 4.
35 times 4, the mathematicians here. 140 per week,
140 per
a
week.
month.
And then times 12 months.
12 months of the year. That's a lot of music
Times,
for a little studio in Waterhouse.
times 20 years. Is that
And that's one studio in Jamaica. Not it's like,
and that was only from 1979 to about 80, somewhere in the 80s, and
Yeah.
that not including the Channel 1 catalog
yeah.
with Roots Radix.
But before we get to Channel 1, a small question for like the expert. Roots Tradition label, because you're affiliated with Roots Tradition as well as like the early works of scientists.
Yeah.
What was it, if you can tell us? Is it, it's from like Greenwich Farm Bay?
Yeah, it was from Bertram Brown and Philip Fraser, Tristan Palmer, and them.
Errol Mears?
Aaron Mays, yeah, Don Mays,
Yeah.
and those people, yeah.
What, you remember tunes from that era, or like
Not really, no. If I try to remember over 10,000 songs,
Sammy Dread, some early?
yeah, my brains would fry because a lot of songs is in the thousands.
All right, Channel 1. Let's enter Channel 1. What's the difference between Tubbies and Channel 1?
Well,
What's going
Channel
on
1 is
Channel
where
1?
everybody in Jamaica used to go to record because at the time, Tubbies was not set up to record live instruments. So I always hear the music coming from Channel 1 because I'm mixing them. And I'll be hearing some of the defects, which sounded good at that time. So I wanted was to develop the experience of recording live instruments. And that is when I left and go down there and develop the type of sound that I was describing to you with a half pint, Mr. Landlord, Michigan and Smiley, and those stuff. Sister Nancy Bam Bam.
That was recorded as well?
Yeah, the first song I recorded at Channel 1 was that Lone Ranger M16 album.
Oh, fabulous album.
Yeah.
What is like the main difference between the Tubbies sound and the Channel 1 sound? In
What was the
style?
main difference?
Yeah, like in terms of style.
Well, it was a good environment. They had good equipment at that time.
Who are the recording musicians back in the?
Everybody and their grandma. I wouldn't be surprised if Muhammad and Jesus didn't record there.
Who?
You heard me.
Jesus himself?
Huh?
Jesus of Nazareth? The man from Galilee himself?
I would
Slapping bass at Channel 1?
I would not be surprised.
Sitting with Jojo Hookim, playing domino on the yard?
Man from Galilee.
All right. I can accept that. So, back to Tubbies, because I know that like in the crowd you have some what you call gear freaks. So, like, people are always speaking about the mixing, the mixing desk at King Tubby's, like the mixer. That it was something else, it was something special. What was going on there? What's the charm? What's the miracle? What's the secret?
Experience. Both I and King Tubby's was electronic engineers. So it was a very primitive board. That day I went to Brazil and I looked at that board and I said, oh God, that thing looked like a dinosaur. I can't believe I mixed all those songs. But the experience, the electronic experience.
What's the name of the brand? What are the special elements in it? What's
No
the secret
special
sauce?
anything. No special element. I hear people talking about Fisher reverb and all that nonsense. It was very, very, very primitive in today's time. The boost and cut rate was only plus and minus 6, a first order filter. You could only select about 3 different frequencies, very basic.
What is the?
The tone oscillator.
Torn?
Oscillator, yeah.
When you say torn, what do you mean? It's just
Tone, T-O-N-E.
Tone, isolator.
Yeah, oscillator, yeah.
Oh.
You use a tone oscillator to when you're going to calibrate the machine.
It's just checking, like a signal that you send.
A signal, yeah, you tap the button and then you would get it to the layer.
So what became with that? That become like that.
That's actually an accident, you know.
Hmm?
That's actually an accident by Philip Smart.
Accident.
Yeah, mixing a song one day and touch the wrong button. Boop!
And what happened there? Like somebody like left the delay open or something?
I was there, you know, you get carried away. It happened to me sometime. And boop! Okay, that song
Oh,
good.
that
And
sound
then,
good.
yeah, and then Bunnily, you know, him was, hey, do that again. Poop, poop, poop. And then people start to add to it.
And
It
like,
becomes
like every release for the next 2 years,
yeah.
and you start messing around with like.
And then again, you know, when we people playing sound system, them have all those effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where all that spring from. Accident by Philip Smart.
Whoa. So, any other charms there, like special delay, special reverb, something like that the people are so anxious to know?
Well, I hear some
Trying to recreate that.
well-renowned people talking about the verbal garbage about Fisher reverb. There was a Fisher reverb there. I tried it about one time. Didn't use it because it was very noisy.
It was a tape delay.
A Fisher reverb,
A
that
reverb.
I hear people talking about a special reverb nonsense.
Spring. Was it?
It was a spring reverb. It was 2 spring reverb there. The main spring reverb that you hear on all the records was assigned to Echo 1, and then the Fisher reverb was assigned to Echo 2, but I never used it because it was very noisy.
But so you used the Echo 1.
Yeah.
And
It was a spring reverb.
spring reverb. The what? You guys built it or?
No, and no, it came from I don't remember who exactly built it, but it's a vintage spring reverb.
A Vermona maybe?
What?
Vermona or something?
No, I don't remember the name offhand.
All right. Furman maybe?
I don't remember
Oh.
the name offhand. Yeah.
And the delay itself, like the delay
That's
unit,
from the tape machine.
the actual tape machine.
Yeah.
It
It turned into an echo because does anybody here know what tape machine delay works? Yeah. Yeah, you have 2 heads. You have the record head, 3 heads rather. You have the record head, the erase head first. Then you have the playback head. Then you have the record. So you record something and you feed the output of the playback head so it can regenerate the sound and re-record again. And that is how you get a tape delay.
It's a lot of technical knowledge. So as a young kid, who are the first people you actually learned that knowledge from?
I'm a self-taught electronic engineer. I'm a mechanic. I learned it on my own. I'm a plumber. I learned it on my own. I learned how to build computers on my own. What did I learn? I learned how to cook from my grandmother because you see, I grew up with about 8 girls. And I was the one cutting up onion, doing that while my sister's outside playing. Hey, Brown, let's go fight a kite. No, I have to go cook for grandma. And I was like their little butler. Go get me this, and I have to go get it for them. But pretty much I'm a self-taught person.
But what about the basics, like Studio One? People say that you were, as a kid, you're you're around those areas.
Yeah, I recorded songs at Studio One, like the same Willie Williams, Michigan and Smiley. I recorded there in. I first started to introduce my techniques there, but some people not ready for change, and they're stuck in their own way that they don't know how to really accept change at first.
Like there must be somebody there saying to you, "Hey, kid, that's going there, and that's the mic. It's that
Yeah,
we're
well,
sending it
if
there."
I could say anybody taught me anything was this guy who named Bim Bim. Right, when I first go there, he say, "Well, then this is a mic, and to bring it up on channel one, you have to plug it in this snake." And he gave me couple basic, but because I was studying electronics, it after a while it becomes self-explanatory. You know Bim Bim?
Did you hear about Bim Bim?
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Well, I don't think most people know about Bim Bim.
No, no. Anytime you see or somebody say they know Bim Bim, it telling you that they know a lot, and they telling you what they don't know.
I heard the name Bim Bim before, but I don't think like people know of
No,
Bim Bim.
no, he recorded a lot of tracks after Sylvan Morris left Studio One.
Sylvan Morris, the
Yeah,
engineer. Yeah.
the engineer, yeah, and Bim Bim, as I say, was, if I could say anybody taught me anything, it was him. Tubby's didn't say, "You're going to record and you do this." Tubby's just say, "You want to learn to swim?" Yeah, whoop, and push me in the water. You better swim, because I'm not throwing a rope. The only way you're going to survive is to learn to swim, or you're going to drown. That was it.
That's a very good lesson.
Um,
Either you survive or either you drown. But you know,
Okay.
like if you survive, so it's like it's. I guess wasn't such. Yeah. Well. So, how did you get the name scientist?
Well, I was the one who was always coming up with these rare, crazy ideas. Moving fader. I even been talking to Tubbies. "Hey, Tubbies, what about if we take the console and we carry it into a dance and mix live?" Just like what she was doing here last night. But no, I agree with him, because, you know what happened in some of these dance halls. It can become very violent. It would be really a bad idea to pull out so much equipment and carry it into dance hall.
So it's actually never happened. Live mixing of dub in a dance.
No, I had the idea, but when I rethink it, it would not be so much of a good combination if some kind of a violence break out. And now it's like it's ready for it, because now you have a digital console, and I can do everything from the computer, instead of dragging two big machines plus the desk into a dance hall, plugging in all those wires. Now I can just plug in one serial wire
Like dust on the tapes and all that.
and all that stuff. They dragging around crates of tape. It would be a mess back in that time.
Speaking of the sound, because like actually everything you mix pretty much goes and plays directly either on King Tubby's or on Channel 1 sound?
Mostly a lot of people, during the days of 4-track, they would just record at Channel 1. There was a few songs mixed at Channel 1, like Mighty Diamonds, Roof Over It, but especially like for Bunny Lee, all of his songs were mixed at Tubby's.
Everything mixed at Tubby. So
Yeah.
what I really want you to emphasize on that topic of recording
At Channel 1.
recording at Channel 1, but I want to know about the connection between recording a song and then the same night you hear it playing Toby's Dance or so, like cut on dub plates. And
Well, yeah,
what
yeah.
was that relations? And were you present in a sound, like hearing the things that you mix daytime working with people and then nighttime going and hear it playing from?
Well, you know what? Just like you always see when I finished last night, the first thing I wanted was to go to my bed.
Yeah.
I got to this, it was in the studio mixing, and this guy, this kid, Tony Kelly. You know, I hear about Tony Kelly.
Sure I did.
Yeah, Junior Kelly.
Tony Kelly?
Yeah, the engineer, producer.
I heard about Jim Kelly.
Well,
CM
the
family?
brothers. Yeah,
The
yeah.
brother of it?
Yeah. So went to my bed. Come on, man, let's go to the dance. Let's go to the dance. All right, all right. And I walk, step into the dance, and oh God. I see people running inside the kitchen cube. Chaos. So I never usually go to dance. I only go to, I don't think I can count on one and 5 times that I go to a dance.
How much?
I tell you.
Between 1 and 5 times you went to a dance.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in a studio producing the wickedest music coming from Jamaica. People in dance halls all over England and in the US are like
Going to Skateland. I got to
going to
Skateland.
Skateland, listen to your music, and you're like, dance? Yeah, I don't really want to go there. It's like
Yeah,
one,
it's
two.
like the cook in that restaurant there. It's like he doing all those delicious dishes that taste good to me and you, but to him, okay, this is just one thing. You make so much music. Trust me, and then none of the musicians either, like Sly and Robbie, they don't go to dances either. I never seen one musician in a dance, or they talk about going to a dance.
That's interesting. And what like dub cutting and all that is a part of the process as well. Like were you
Yeah,
cutting?
you'd find like, and is what they use to evaluate how the public is going to receive a song. So Bun Lee would come, or whatever producer would come, they would record whatever artist, and then they go and cut on a dub plate and play it in the dance. And if the crowd doesn't like it, and they play it a couple of times and the crowd just doesn't like it, then they know the song is not ready to be released.
In the actual cutting of the dub plates, were you doing that as well?
Yeah, I learned how to do that eventually.
Yeah, as a part of like everyday's work.
Oh yeah, I tell you, I was blessed, because when I go back to my neighborhood, I was 17, and I was a forbidden kid. Look here, don't hang out with him. He's going to that dangerous place, Waterhouse. And in Jamaica, when people see you and they want to make a statement, they would go on the next side of the road. Don't want to be associated with you, because they think I was in some kind of a notorious gang, because of Waterhouse, as you know, has a very bad neighborhood. But the God, honest gospel truth, my 2 pockets filled with money every night, and not one person ever bother me. I see people come around there, and the next couple of days, they get in their ass kicked. And here's why. You have a thing named mutual respect, that you have to respect everybody. Don't care because you see he's a little whatever, she's a mate, she's a whatever. Don't treat her differently than you would treat the prime minister or somebody. Give the maid the same respect, because guess what? If you're in your castle, whatever, you still need your maid to keep your house clean, and you still need your gardener. But you have some people that go around there because I come from a rich, not say rich, but decent neighborhood, to go into the worst part of Kingston every day. Well, I'm around people who less fortunate than me. But I didn't go around there with certain attitude, and I see people come around there with other attitudes, and they get in their ass kicked every day, and people trying to rob them and do all the bad things to them. And I never have any incident around there with anybody, because the first thing I learned was mutual respect to everybody.
Well, like how is it like to be creative in a kind of a hostile environment? Because like the years that we are talking about, people maybe don't know it thoroughly, but in like early 80s is like some of the worst election years in Jamaica. pretty much a civil war is going on in the streets. People can cross from one side of the neighborhood to the next side of the neighborhood.
Or if you're
because
wearing a certain color shirt.
you told me that story, and I think it's, yeah, you can tell these people about that.
Yeah, there was this guy coming around, and he was wearing a green shirt like that young lady, but he ended up in the red zone. So,
What is it? Yeah, we're red and yellow. Is it football matches going on? What's the thing with the
yeah,
red and
well, the different political party, like the Labour Party, would wear green, and the PNP party would wear red. So he's this innocent guy wearing a green shirt in the red zone, and they painted him red and sent him back home.
literally
Paint him.
Okay, yeah, that's choice of color.
Yeah, but them thing there, God don't look at them thing there as anything good.
Not at all. But
No.
how was it like to, I don't know, to maintain your sanity
Uh,
while
when-
they're
when-
like
when I look back
1,700?
now, I find I was playing Russian roulette with my life. It's just the mercy of God why I keep going around those places till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and nothing ever happened. Now, would I do it again? No.
With a sensible mind,
No.
you would do something else? What would you do?
Not going back around, not playing Russian roulette with my life. Because you can't be doing the same gamble. And here's how most thieves get caught. They commit a crime one time, they get away with it, and then they start turning it into a habit. I'm not going to turn that into a habit. I done my share of that. What am I proving?
Of risk taking.
Yeah.
Well, back to the music.
Okay.
Who's the favorite band you worked with? Favorite DJ you worked with? And favorite singer that you worked with? It's a
Well-
3-in-1 question.
Well, I can say you are the favorite promoter that I work with. But
It's
as
gonna bring
far-
tears to my eye, I hope. To
as far as artist, musician, band is just the next day, just the next customer.
Come on, man.
I swear to God.
Somebody like you work with Delroy
I
Wilson.
could say
probably
I
you work-
could say I like working with Pat Kelly.
What a great guy.
Yes, he was a great guy.
Sweet voice.
Yes, decent person.
Did you produce like It's a Good Day?
Huh?
It's a Good Day by Pat Kelly.
I don't remember, and I would have to hear the song.
Oh, okay. Okay, so say now Pat Kelly. What about like he produced the greatest DJs in Jamaican music history, basically from like Yellow Man,
I work with
Tyan,
them. Hear what I could also add to it.
Early B.
Here what could I would just like to say, I would also add to it Bonnie Lee.
Bonnie Lee.
Yeah, I like working with Bonnie Lee. I was full of joke, kind of crazy guy. Like, always amusing. Outside of that, I have to think hard.
Like bands, like you probably work like
It was different bands. So, okay, this is this band today. Nothing special for me.
Mighty Diamonds and all that. Like you've done it all. Like pretty much
Whatever.
Yellow Man and yeah. So
Okay.
it doesn't excite you in
Nope.
that way.
Nope.
That's interesting, man.
I swear to God.
We have a singer. We don't have a band. DJ wise, something. We have no. All right.
I'm going to treat all of them the same way.
Okay, so I'll ask you a next question. Like, what would be the project, the musical project that you feel the most proud of? That
Well,
you feel like-
if the song and the musical composition is good, then you like it, but you go and treat the guy. I've worked with artists before. The first time I hear them sing, I try not to laugh. I get up, I pretend like I'm going somewhere. When I reach around the back, I start holding my belly and laugh.
Okay, since you already shared that with us,
Yeah, I'm not going to call any names.
Why
But guess
not?
what?
yeah,
Those artists become mega stars now. So I learned you have to just treat all of them the same way. Don't give anyone anything special that you wouldn't give the other one them. Give it all of them the same exact thing.
All right. Back to the dub albums that made you like world famous. From introducing scientists to the world to scientists gets rid of the evil curse of the evil
I
vampire.
really wish if I could do that because I would bring it to this part of the world first.
Come again?
I say I really wish if I could rid the world of all the evil vampires, I would bring it to this side of the world first.
Literally.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. But these titles, who made these titles? Because always there's the most like fighting Pac-Man and like.
Well, at nighttime when we're working, I would scribble on the boxes, draw the cartoon ideas, and then by the time the box reach to the record company, some of them would develop the idea that way.
But it was like that pitch line of the titles, basically like that. You would write the title name.
Yes, write some of them down.
Voodoo Curse.
Some of them, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we're moving to the questions from the crowd now. That's the part that we're opening this
Okay.
conversation between us to the public.
Yeah.
Moshe,
I know you would be first.
would you like the mic, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just want to ask, in those days, what you, how you prefer to mix on digital mixer or analog? I mean about the sound, not
I know exactly that you was going to ask me.
Great question. Digital or analog?
not about what is easier, what is sound better for you.
Digital. Yes. Digital take care of all the problems that the engineering couldn't solve in the analog days. If MP3 sound better than vinyl, yes. A high quality MP3.
Really?
Yes. Yes. A high quality MP3
A high quality MP3
going to sound better than a
versus
vinyl.
a vinyl.
Going to sound better. You're going to get better bass. Here's why. And this is not just talking without any foundation. Here's why. By time you record a song in the analog world, by time it hit tape, it's a second generation. So that's one generation down. Then you have to mix it, which is the next generation down. Then after you mix it, then you have to cut the stamper, which is the next generation down. And each time you go to a next generation, you lose quality and fidelity. Right? By the time it come to the record, it lasts about 3 more generations. When you play it on a turntable, right, if you try to turn up like extra lows, it's going to rumble.
Hum.
You experience that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It won't produce the same bass as a high quality MP3. That's our engineering fact.
So if the MP3 is not compressed whatsoever,
If it's not compressed whatsoever, it's going to have a better frequency response. And that's the whole thing with the oscillator we're talking about. That's why they build it, because you would put a certain frequency, and okay, we'll put in this frequency at 0 dB, and when it's playing back, if it's playing back less, then you have to calibrate the machine to get it to play back the same thing as recording. That's the objective. When you do the same thing to an MP3, you don't see any lasting value. That's why I don't bother with tape machines anymore.
what about like the sound, the warmth of sound that
And
with
the verbal
the
garbage,
people,
I know
people,
that.
you heard about that? Like people say like analog
know.
carry warmth and
You
depth
know,
of sound.
all that
You don't get in a
nonsense,
digital.
all that nonsense that go with it. Here's what happened. When you record to analog, the higher frequency, like the 10 key and up, it starts to roll off. right, I did a study where I have two exact digital recording, and I do like what would happen to analog. It will take away the high frequency, and I roll it off, right? And I said to the audience, which one is digital? And the one that take away the high frequency that would normally be lost in an analog. Oh, that one is definitely. All right. Oh, you're the bass fatter. Oh, well, the bass so fatter because you lose a bunch of high frequency.
But what about every spoil is a style? You know, I mean, maybe the digital sounds sometimes too sweet, too squeaky clean, and people maybe on a romantic level kind of miss that dusty old sound.
What remind you when you went to your favorite date, your first date? You want
Maybe,
dirt?
yeah.
Well, yes.
Old times,
Yes.
scratchiness,
But no, when I hear some of that, look here, here's what.
like the imperfections of life itself, maybe.
Like what, people blowing up each other?
Well,
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want that. I don't like that. Yeah.
next question from the crowd. Asaf.
Yes, greetings.
Yes, sir.
My question is back at the early 80s, the drum sound that came from Channel 1 became really changed according to what happened before. So my question, technically, how did you record the drums and how you get this sound when you have this high transient, very strong attack, very... How did you did it? With what processors?
Well, the first thing, the drums acoustically have to be done right, tuned right.
Uh-huh.
The second thing is mic placements.
Okay.
Then the other thing is acoustic instrument and speakers, system that you're listening through. Please stay away from the compressors.
And back in those days, did you use gates on the drums?
I was experimenting with gates, like, for example, diseases that I recorded the roots radic. I hear my mistake with the gates. And started was to develop control bleed, that you allow the drum to bleed in a controlled manner. Gates, it have a good purpose, but if it's done too tight, then it make it sound like the drum not breathing.
Yeah, and my second question, like yesterday on the show, I saw that on the older tracks from King Tubby's, the Bonnie Lee productions, on some tunes, you have the drums and the bass on the same track. And
Oh,
while others...
you're paying attention.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So how did you, back in the days, like when you have like 4 tracks in King Tubby's, you put drums, bass...
Well, let me answer your question. Whenever you see drum and bass on the same track, then if you also notice it had horns in it, right?
Yes.
So what we would do, the songs would come from Channel 1 with drums on separate track and bass on separate tracks. But if we want to put horns, we'd have to tie the drum and bass and then transfer it to a different tape. So we have an extra track to put horns and vocals.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you feel that these limitations created some of the creativity? Because the drop of a drum and bass together, boom, all that. So it's something that created from that limitation specifically.
Yeah, but there are ways how to do that, like group the song. So one fader can control 10 different things. But back in the days, there was no other way to do it because they didn't start making consoles at that time where you could have group things.
So you say if you can drive a Lamborghini, why drive like a donkey cart?
Okay, let me give you. You want me to give you
I want that metaphor.
a Lamborghini or a donkey cart for your birthday?
I already got 2 Lamborghinis, so a donkey cart would be a great gift.
Well, you could give that lovely young lady there the next one.
That's true. Any more questions from the crowd? Yes.
Yeah, you want to come up and yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for being here. Huge
Yeah.
fan. If you could, do you have a favorite?
Put mic, yeah.
Do you have a favorite rhythm? Could you name one?
It's kind of like the same question.
So no favorite album either.
You have a special. You have children.
No.
Okay.
I got a dog.
Huh?
I have a dog, one dog.
Okay, so you don't get a chance to have a special dog then.
No.
It's kind of like that for me. No special anything. I just treat all them the same way. Just a next branch. You have a tree with many leaves, right? Is any of them special? You smoke weed?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Like, is any other bud special?
I'm sorry? Yeah,
and-
there's
and it's-
some special weed. For
This
sure.
note are the same. Yeah, well, I guess you're right.
Nowadays, you got some seriously special weed. Edibles.
I give that one to you. Well, I don't smoke anymore. I used to smoke, and yes, sometimes I usually find, yes. Yeah, I give you that one, but for me, no special songs.
Well, thank you for all the songs. Thanks for all the rhythms.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, Shekel.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
My question comes from my experience as a producer. I produce since I'm 14, and I used to work only in the box. Like I never used analog material, never. And I just finished my album, and I really worked hard on the mixes, like very hard, with a friend of mine who's the better mixer than me. And after the album, I realized some things about the way I work. And recently, I feel like I'm more drawn to mixing more like simpler, and not try to use the channel with a lot of compressors and stuff, and not like listen to the mix a lot of times. Like only when I feel like when I feel it's okay, I should let go. Like I shouldn't listen to it over and over again. And I wanted to ask your position about that.
Well, I'm going to give you my personal experience. Sometime when in the studio, right, and we're doing some rough mixes, is the best. When we get serious and try to do it too perfect, it sounds like a lot of, you can imagine what I'm going to say. Right, so yes, you're right. If you're in the room when the dogs stink, after a while, the dog starts smelling normal. You can't smell it anymore, right? So you're doing the right thing. Stay away from the compressors, all that. You have to learn to leave good enough alone. If it's something that only you alone going to pick up and it's not obvious, leave it alone, because it becomes if it's spoiled, becomes a style. Yeah, so I now practice to do the same thing.
And would you work from like your instinct? Like the first thing that sounds good to you, would you like go with that?
Yes, well, with me, the way how I like things, if the first time I see it, I like it, then I know I really like it. I have to look on it too much. Do I really like it? Then I know I do not really like it. Yeah. So sometimes, yes. But here's what. You have to be honest to yourself. Right? Don't pat yourself on the back and say, I did very good. Because the reason why I reached to my level, I was the worst critiques of my own self. And this is why at Channel 1, every day I would go back. Okay, this drum didn't sound right. Do this, do this, do this, do this. So after a while, people was trying to, follow my footsteps, but they didn't know which one was the right one, because I'd have a different approach every day till it evolved in the sound that you hear with Mr. Landlord. That time we just start getting the sound right. Yeah. So be honest to yourself, learn how to leave good enough alone, and don't try and lie to yourself.
That's exactly what I'm learning right now. And would you say that it's enough to just balance your tracks and not try to overload them with effects or any other samples. Because I hear a lot of approaches that only balancing them, if you know how to do your art, then it's enough.
Well, it's like cooking, right? You can't put a whole bunch of different spices because this one start canceling out this one. So you have to put them in. You can't put in too much salt more than pepper. So everything have to be at the right balance. Yeah, don't try and overload it. That's become like, imagine everybody in here asking me a question. I will understand them, right?
That's what I say, yeah.
Yeah.
The same question applies to channels. Yeah, I think it's my fourth question, but it's the last one. Is it come from like channels? Like would you lessen the channels like when you produce a song, not only when you're mixing?
It depends. It depends on the context of the music. Some stuff like a high frequency instrument and a low frequency instrument, because they require two different EQ. You don't want to put those on the same track. Like you wouldn't want to put a bass and a hi-hat on the same track. But if you also put like a tambourine and a hi-hat at the same track, then that's okay because it's using a similar EQ.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It reminds me that another technical thing that we talked about earlier. It was about like doing sound engineering by the book, and then when the signal shows you that it peaks and you reach the red and you don't know what to do with it, is like the red is a safe zone, is the red is a danger. What are we doing with that?
Yeah. Anybody here drive? I would imagine, right? Are you driving sometime and your empty light come on, right? But your car doesn't run out of fuel right away, right? They make the empty light come on when you can drive about 50 more miles or so, which usually enough to get it to the gas station to fill up. So what we do in electronics, this is where distortion really is. So we make the clip light comes on down here. So it warns them off real early. And then you have a thing in electronics named transient. Right, they only go for a millisecond. Your ears cannot hear a millisecond with a distortion. So if you're mixing a song and it periodically hit the red, right, as long as it don't stay buried in the red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's no big deal. Yeah, you have to learn to trust your ears, because when I was mixing, learning, I was following all the same guideline. Keep it out the red. Anybody you remember those cassette decks with the Tascam cassette deck that used to have two like a red light? Yeah. You remember those at -5 half meter, which comes on real early, and when you record the tape, it's very low. Yeah, the same thing. So after a while, okay, ignore the light. But with me, when I'm mastering, what I do is push the levels that I can physically hear where it distorts. And then you slowly bring it back until the distortion cuts away. When looking at the waveform, oh no, that's incorrect, it's square. All right, so I did a next test. I did one square recording, right? And do one with a normal where the book say. And then you ask people, which one sound better to you? And everybody will tell you the one with the square sound better. Wow. Because it's louder. And that's the objective. The loudest volume you want to put on the master before it starts to distort. So you have to learn how to learn your judgment. Your own judgment. And that is where real experience come in.
Be a square. חברים, אני חושב שנעבור לשאלה 2 אחרונה מהקהל. 3? 4?
I suggest if anybody here mastering, should try it. Record a song, push it until you physically hear the song distorted, right? Then gradually bring it back to when you hear the song, distortion disappear, and then do the one at normal levels and compare both of them, and then you'll end up agreeing with me. Yes, ma'am. Can you come on the mic?
Shalom, shalom. You talk before about spirits, so I just wanted to know if you still feel the spirits of your grandmother around you.
I tell you, you can't underestimate women, you know.
What's that? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Because you hit me that if I ever feel the spirit of my grandmother, of my ancestors, yeah, well, yeah, sometimes I feel it, but I don't know if it's real or just me. But yeah, I do believe that things exist in the spirit world that sometimes feel, and sometimes it's just imagination or you high and weed.
אפל, גש אלינו.
You feel the spirit of your grandparents?
Greetings. It's a great honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
And saw you last night in your walk. She talked a little bit about it, but your work as a sound engineer or a dub creator, you are the most, your work is the most, you capture spirituality the best as a sound engineer, even more than the singers who was religious, who sang on the tune, yeah? And when I look at your albums, your crate, I always say like someone was there with you. You know?
What you said what? Someone?
Someone else was there. Yeah? Something.
My ancestors?
Saying.
Well, I agree with you because I tell you, between Channel 1 and King Tubby's, it's like leaving here and going on the Gaza Strip.
So you catch a lot of dappy in the way, eh?
Yeah, and something, the ants, the element, God, something was there with me, and I more believe it's God.
Like Reach the World with Evil Vampires. Like recorded Friday the 13th. All the dark like context who come with your work. Where you get it from?
How did it come about?
Seeing?
Here's what. You have people who draw, who paint, right? It's something that in your imagination come through your fingers. The same thing with music. It's something in your brain get translated to your fingers. And I have sometimes the craziest imagination. Like me and him was at the Dead Sea, and I've been talking to him about there could be a sea monster out there, we never know.
Like I have here the Jah Guidance, the Wailing Soul, Firehouse Rock.
Yeah.
I think it's the best sample to tell what is dub. But furthermore, how you can put something that capture in sound, but it's only feel when you put your side, when you put the B side, you know? So I don't know if you can call it effects, or I don't know, or timing, or Roots Radix, or Channel 1, but tell me.
I'm not sure if I understand this question. I ask what is he saying?
Yeah, I cannot. I will always go to spirituality or something. I don't know. It was like, how can I say it? It was like you are like possessed by something. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I know I had a guiding angel around me because I've seen where my life could have been cut short. I've seen it many times. That's why I tell you I don't want to play Russian roulette with my life anymore. I give you an example. One day I left the studio, and back in the same 1980 election, where the two political party was warring. So I had on a red shirt, and by taking the bus home, I end up in the green zone. So some guys on the bus say, "Hey, you in that red shirt, get off the bus." And when I look, I find I'm the only person on the bus with a red shirt. Anyway, stupidly me, probably it was the right thing I did at that time, came off of the bus. They took out my wallet, took away everything from me, and then one person said, "Run, run for your life." And I start running. And behind me, "Socialist, kill him, kill him, kill him." It's like somebody say, "Jew, Jew, kill him, kill him." And this girl, I tell you, she should get a medal. She run and she grabbed me and she hold me. And when I look, I've been surrounded by all kind of people. And immediately, this woman, that's why it's not good to take advantage of people just because they're weak. This woman who had fixed a television for just a couple days before, it was something simple. "No, Bev, it's just a fuse blow." Yeah. I could have easily well fake it and tell her all kind of things happened to it. She saw me, she stopped, and she picked me up, and she carried me straight to my home. God bless that woman wherever she is. So yes, thank God that little green man is around me, some little green people that protect me so I can be here with you today.
Bless man.
Yes, I.
It's an honor.
ריגשת, אפל. Well, couple of more questions from the audience, and then we would like to move on to some live dub examples of what, like, seeing it on the mixer. How's the magic going on? Shusha, המיקרופון...
Greetings.
Greetings.
I want to know what is so special about 15 IPS they use in Jamaica, and they refused to use the 30 IPS, and they made it on the tape recording.
So what was that question? I didn't understand it.
15 IPS, the recording on the tape.
Speed up the tapes.
Yeah.
What's the advantage of it?
In Jamaica, on those days, they only use 15 IPS, if you're aware of it.
Okay. Versus 30 IPS.
15 IPS versus 30. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank God for digital, because when you're working at 30 IPS, you can only fit about probably 3 or 4 songs. As I remember, that's about 3 minutes. But when you're working at 15, right, you can fit up to about 5, 6 songs or more at about 3 minutes each. And you get a better bass response. You get a better bass response. And it's one of the advantages of digital. You don't have to worry about that. And because 15 IPS versus 30, you have to calibrate the tape machine differently. Yeah. Yeah, they claim you get better signal to noise ratio, it's less noisy. But if you know to calibrate the machine, so the meter actually banging way past the red, +5 or +9. But we can now calibrate the meters that +5 or +9 still shows 0. And again, going by the ears, because the manufacturer measurement +5, so we would push the tape, push the tape, push the tape. This is where it really start distorting. So now we'd calibrate the meters that when you see it go 1 past 0, they know that's true distortion. Yeah.
Let's go for a final question.
Yeah,
Naya?
you can't cut out females. Females very important, you know.
Thank you so much. as a woman that's in love with dub music and go to
Women in love with dub music. That's something very special.
and for I'm going for a party sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 6 hours. I cannot listen one song of a woman. Why is that?
I don't want to really give you your answer.
Why, what?
I don't want to really give you your answer. I could be wrong at your answer. But you're saying that you can't really listen a song from a woman?
No, I'm coming for a dance. And many, many times the DJ or the dub scientist, the one who DJ, does not put any song of a woman, of a voice of a woman. And it's really hard to find dub of a woman. And it's
You mean
so
there's
beautiful.
no song from dub from a woman? Vocals on women and dub? Well, here's what. Women been treated unfairly in a lot of different industries. You find some places in America, they have a woman doing the same exact job as a man. I don't know if it's the same thing here in Israel. And the woman doing the same exact job, sometimes doing a better job, and they want to pay her less.
In Jamaica.
In America. Is that the same thing here? Yeah, that's unfair. If they're doing the same thing, especially if they're doing better work, they should get treated just as fair and get some, if they're doing, especially doing a better job, compensate them with even more money. So universally, women been left out of a lot of industries, not only music, right? And it's only one limit I put on a woman, you know. It's only one limit. Women are capable of doing anything that a man can do but one thing. And do you know what that is? Getting the next woman pregnant. They can do everything. They can fly planes, they can be doctors, they can be musicians, anything. So we live in a world where they exclude women from a lot of things. And that's why you don't see a lot of women doing it. But I'd gladly give you an opportunity if you can sing.
Let's go inside the master class, I say.
Sorry, I didn't understand the opportunity of singing.
הוא אומר שהיה שמח לתת.
I wish I could sing. I'm in the dancing.
So what do you say, Father?
You call the shots.
You're ready for Dubwise?
Okay, I'm probably sure like a thing. Clive.
Okay, that...
323 HB.
רגעים יפים של ציפייה, דרוכה.
Just hit enter. Enter. They put you in the wrong part.
מישהו זוכר? אורי גלר בקהל?
So we have the bass on one track, right? So we have the bass on one track. Right? And one thing that's mixing, that's very, very important. Right? When people play music, they play it at, I mix at the party level. Because when people play music, they don't really play it like this. So this console is going to run out the headroom. So to prevent the console run out the headroom, you need to turn up the volume. It's one thing I could say Tubby's taught me, right? Because when I was mixing first, now you need to turn the volume control all the way out because the console would run out the headroom. So ask him to turn up the monitors louder. Where is he? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, turn up. As the console gonna run out the headroom. Turn it up. Don't scare, turn it up. Don't watch the meter. And then just turn down this mic. turn on this mic. Little bit, yeah. Little bit more with the music. So we have a reasonable headroom because by the time you start putting in everything is going to sum up and then you're going to push the console in the red. So this is where the bass is. So one of the things that I do is have everything here to one straight line and then use the trim to create the balance. So whatever straight line you choose is the same blend. Then
I've been searching for you for the longest time, and right now you're mine. Right now you're mine. I'll be happy all the time. Oh, baby, I'll never want no one else but you.
you notice when you push in, when you put everything, the meter start to go. Yeah, so the way you overcome that is make sure that the volume is all the way out. Or else you're going to start putting the board into flip. So the way you do that, yeah, you need a lot of headroom in your monitor.
Here's a roses for you, baby. Hey, 'cause you're the one that touched my heart. Oh.
To learn, you have to know the composition of the song. With me, after I hear a couple beats of the song, I kind of know what I'm playing. Then I'm going to come in.
You've got my attention, oh, so I'll follow where you lead.
You recognize that voice? 1, 2. Huh?
Maybe drummer.
Yeah. You recognize who that is?
Let me hear the tune. I tell you with the drummer.
Make him hear it again. Space bar 2 times.
Watch it. Crocodile. One. Crocodile. Watch it. 1, 2.
Lie down, bro.
Yes, you've been listening. Correct, play, let's chill.
Watch it. Crocodile. One. Crocodile. Watch it. One, two.
This one with the drum and bass tie. So originally, what the drums split up, but because we're going to put horns on it. Right? We tie the drum and bass. And then...
Tape from channel 1 and drum bass on one track? Tape the track, drum and bass on one track?
Yeah.
Because horns is on channel 1.
No, the horns was part of Tubby, so we tie the drum and bass. We tie the drum and bass and we transfer the tape from 4-track. And then when the transfer, we tie the drum and bass. So we have this track. Start it again, 5, 2. Yes, no, one more time. So we have this track lead for the drum and bass. Sorry, for the horns. Yeah, so whenever you see we have drum and bass tied, then you can almost bet that it has horns on it, like this one. So that's why you're seeing that. And all the rhythm sections on one track. Trust me, and that was on. I was very nervous, just like you, the first time I tried. I could see hands shaking, my hands shake the same way too. Yeah. I was nervous too, so I don't feel anywhere. Yo, anybody else want to try this? Yeah, come on. Yeah? I'll find a song to do that. Yeah. That actually came from a DJ now. I think it was Danny Dredd. Pull up Danny Dredd, yo. And it was using the volume control, and then we heard it and simulate the same thing in the studio. Yeah, give him at the first track. Early, yeah. Hit this, and then hit this space bar one time. One time space bar. Drums. Yes. Vocals. Ready now? I think so. What's the delay and the reverb? Delay is right here and the reverb is right here. Delay is right here and the reverb is here. Cool, let's go. This is ping and this is pump. But because of the setup, you can't hear it running from speaker to speaker.
You're the one that touched my heart. See, I've been watching you for the longest time.
That's the thing with dub, you're only limited to your imagination. Any female engineers here? Yeah? You? Come here, come here, come here. Want a female engineer to come here and try this. Don't be shy. You're not a female, dude.
You've got my attention.
Oh, yeah. Hey, did he understand my English? I can give you a chance. But there's any female engineers here, our producers. Why is she hiding? She's scared? Man. Hey, don't leave, man. Come. You're a female engineer? She want to try it. Okay, let her try it. Probably she going to want to be an engineer next. Start again, Clive. Yeah, this is drums, keyboard, bass, vocal, and then horns. Space bar one time, yeah.
Here's a rose, it's for you, baby. Hey, 'cause you're the one that touched my heart. Make me your planet strategy, using your sweetness to capture me. Oh, but I ain't mad at you, baby. Oh, no. See, I've been watching you for the longest time. And right now, I'm the happiest man you can find, baby. 'Cause I'm standing in love with you. Oh, yeah. Thank you for me. Said I'm standing in love with you. Oh, girl, thank you for doing the things you do.
When I mix it, I'm taking tunes off the different instruments. Like when you hear the timbale play, and then that's an action, and then I will give a reaction to the timbale. So try them to your word. No, this not. Keyboard, keyboard, drums, bass. Yeah.
Here's a rose, it's for you, baby. Yeah, 'cause you're the one that touched
Yeah. One thing that I see is a limitation. If you notice, I'm doing the fader like this, right? And anytime I'm bringing it in, I'm bringing it in like this. You know, he coming like y'all coming like this. So, yeah, yeah. Uh, um, let's see. One of these things that I would say away from primitive, from that console like King Tub is, you could actually, if you blow hard enough, you'd move the fader. Very light. Let me run it and show you. Then I'll get into that.
Here's a rose and it's for you, baby. Yeah. 'Cause you're the one that touched my heart.
Try it, let's see. How about you come on the mic and DJ? Come on the mic and DJ.
I don't do that last night, nah, man. Want a mix?
I'm taking you and jump in the sea.
I jump in the water, you know, and swim. Touch up the... Yes, man. Sound from the flick of the wrist to make your hip can jump and twist. Wriggle like that, wriggle like this. Thing called the master class. And with the one called scientist as the boss. You know why? Touch up the key, select down for me, eh? Touch up the key, operator for me, eh? Touch up the key, mix it down now for me, eh? Touch up the key, mix it very nicely. Touch it in a town, mix it in a country. All together with it. You don't know where they want unity. You don't know they want say one unity. One God, one ear, man, and one destiny. We be talking and me say tell it to them, lad. We be talking, me come for tell it to them. We be talking and come for tell it to them. Scientists man, they man no miser. The scientists man they don't bargainizer. Is this your man, yeah? He man no my. Goodness gracious. Yeah, man. Jump in the water and swim. What can I say next? You know what? I would ask the last question of the night.
I will say it for you.
I
I will say it for you. You are a badass, man.
Oh, man.
You're a bad Jewish boy.
Enough respect, Godfather. So I would ask you the last question I'm about to ask for tonight. What would be the future of dub music? True, the man is a visionary. What do you, like in your eyes, in your imagination, how do you see dub music in 2040?
Where's the young lady that was here? That was mixing earlier. She left. She's outside. I see more females doing dub.
I'd like to thank Hopeton Brown for tonight and just give it a round of applause for the original scientists. Thank you, Brother Clive, Father Clive in the place. תודה רבה לתדר. And I wish you many, 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 many more years of dub music and great music and keep inspiring people worldwide as you do. That's it. תודה רבה לכם. Big respect.